Hi everybody, welcome back to episode 10 of 100 Days of Code. I obviously went off course. Obviously, it's been many months since I have done the series, but I have good reason to come back. I really enjoy the series. AI is what I want to get into. It's what I want to learn. I feel almost a need to learn it. It's so important to me. So, with that being said, I want to keep on continuing the PUBG stuff, but I'm going to go down a different route for at least a couple of episodes because I've recently been in contact with one of my viewers who found me through this exact series, and we started talking, and he has been trying to create this program that detects good morning images. I'm talking from experience of seeing one YouTube video about this, but apparently everybody sends good morning messages around like India and Asia, that area of the world. That's sort of the thing that they do, so I can see how that would get annoying. So basically the goal of this is to find any text that is in the image, and if it says morning, good morning, anything like that, then we want to remove that. We want to get rid of that. So I'm going to walk through the structure of this program, and it's pretty simple to follow. I didn't know, but there's actually this library called Pietsch, which makes it incredibly easy to get words out of images. It uses, I can't remember what it's called, but you can actually find edges in images. So it's just doing that manually. But anyways, I have fiddled around with this code. I'm having some problems, but I decided that I should start recording now because it's part of the process of getting this code working. So for this, I created a new Conda environment and I installed all these libraries I see. And I'm going to go ahead and delete these images because they are not going to be needed. Because within this images directory, I have all the files I need. I also want to rename this, so I'm going to go into the local path and just clean up the names. It really doesn't matter what we name these images, but basically, from what we can see here, we have, this is a typical good morning meme, and technically I call this a meme detector because in a way these are going to be memes that we're going to be trying to find text with images. So, and this might be more difficult, but something like this, it's very obvious that there are distinct lines that we have here in the code, or in the image rather. Also, when we get to things like this, it might be more difficult to detect it, but we want to start off with something like this image or this image where the text is very contrasted from the background and it's easy to see that. But the problem that I've been having is actually getting these images and being able to read them in. So I'm going to start off first by debugging the application. Also, you can go ahead down the description. I am going to be posting this to my own GitHub, so that way you can actually get this updated code and see me as I work along with this project. So I will link the repo down in the description. Nonetheless, with all that being said, let's get into the code. So we're using an images path. We have to escape the / character because I'm on Windows. So this basically just gets the images directory, and then we use this os.lister, which will list all the files within the directory, which is our images folder. So all this stuff will go through. And if I were to just do this, I'll comment these lines out because that's a problem right now. You can see that we're actually going into the images folder and grabbing all of these images. So we're doing that correctly. The problem comes up when I try to get this result. So if we print the image object, which is just this image.open from pill library, you can see that's actually loading in the object, or the image. So it's actually working. Obviously there's different sizes, it's going into memory. So something's happening when I actually try to convert this image into a string, and that is where I am at right now. Okay, I just had a lot of pizza rolls. Okay, so I'm going to set a breakpoint right here, just debug this and see what is going on. So right now we have the image, and our console already printed out the image. So I want to step into this and see what's going on. So we're passing in our image, which is the JPEG. So it's running through. And we get into this run and get output. So it's saving the image. So we might have something wrong with the dir. So it's trying to get some tempter. Which I don't understand why. I want to step out. So this is it trying to save it. So let's step over. So saying that we had a broken data stream. So something happens here. And I do have Git hooked up to this repository, but I'm not sure if that should make a difference. So let's go ahead and research this error code. So another thing too might be that if I open up Conda, say Tesseract, it's not a recognized thing as well. But let's go ahead. By Tesseract, broken data stream. So I want to try this. Just copy this image and paste it into the root directory. And we'll see if this is because we have different files. So we're going to go here and just go to this, which is, as Harshal noted here, it's the current directory. So it's going to get a list of all files in here. And then we'll just say if file name dot ends with, and then we'll just say .jpeg. Then we'll do it the other way. Never mind. We'll stick with, so say if the file ends with .jpeg, then we're going to do all the logic in here. And let's just see if it works. So get out of debug mode and just run this straight up. And we're still getting an error. Alright, so we can also call the .load function, probably non-print. That doesn't make much sense, but image.load. And then let's see. Error gets thrown right there. People are saying that I should install this, but that's for Ubuntu. Let's just try conda install libjpeg 8dev. The other problem might be that I may not have fully installed Tesseract, which would be annoying. Actually, no. That doesn't make much sense just because we are using Pillow here. We're using Pillow the entire time, so That would not make much sense. So there's a couple of things that are being recommended here to fix this problem. One is installing, now I am using Conda, but for Pillow. Actually, no, I had to use pip to install Pietsch, but let's try Conda upgrade Pillow. And we're also going to use image, file, and then have that set to true. Could just quickly see if that resolves our issues, and not getting an error right away. Ah, okay, cool. So that actually fixed the problem. Let's see. It's still working on seeing if we can upgrade that. But, so now we're getting error with Tesseract, which is better because that at least makes more sense. So that's what I needed, the image file.load truncated images. So now let's go installing Pietsch in Anaconda. Alright, that took a very long internet rabbit hole, but hopefully this setup will work. Alright, so now if we open up a command prompt, try Tesseract, that's still not being recognized. So Tesseract is in my program files. And then there was something that we needed. Let's see what exactly it is. So we'll probably need to put that into environment variables. Set that, edit path, add a new guy here, and I think it was Tesseract underscore CMD. Or I guess that doesn't, it's not necessarily going to work for what we want to do. Alright, so we need to add this to our path that has the uppercase path, which I think is this. Do slash and then see if that just works. If I do another command prompt, Tesseract. Nice, perfect. Okay, that was easier than I thought that would be. Okay, cool. So all we had to do was just point to this folder and the exe. Alright, so let's try running this again. And try relaunching PyCharm. Hopefully be able to run this. Alright, so we just ran through that and did not get an error. So let's print result as well. And result turned nothing. So let's make sure that we're hitting it. Alright. So result is returning nothing, which he is actually catching for this case. So let's view this image. That makes sense that we're not getting anything. So now that we know that the directory thing was not a problem, I'm going to go return this back to the image path. And then just try printing this out again. Boom! So we're actually starting to get some results. So we're actually up and running. So I no longer have to do this if check, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this back. And basically what I want to do is just say if result dot, or the len of result is greater than 0, then I want to print out I would like to print out the result just to see what it is. So we're going to go ahead and run this. So we ended up getting an IO error. But we won't have to worry about that. Let's just look at this second image right now. That's actually not too bad. So this looks pretty low quality. Let's go back to documents. So we ended up getting EE, some colons, such. So we are actually getting some sort of good results. So this is a non-standard sort of font right here, and it says white egg bread, and it says 4, which is the number right there, and then it says Wakire, which is obviously wrong. But considering how this text is, how this font is sort of shaped, I wish these images were bigger. There we go. Considering how this is sort of does look like a K, right? But when we get down to here, a good basic white bread, which isn't a normal font, it gets it perfectly. So I wish that this didn't error out. I sort of want to try and run this again, see if we can get it running. Keeps on getting caught on one of these images. Looks like E1 is a problem. I'm just going to cut this out of this directory and see if we can just keep this going. Seems like 4 is causing problems. Well, we are able to get to E2. So this is okay for the moment. And he actually does have a whole other file here that actually shows the details, so we can get into that a little bit later. But so let's see what's going on here. So this is PyTesseract returning an error. PyTesseract error to when writing image file. Doesn't seem to be much. I'm going to go in here. I'm just cutting these out and pasting them in this directory. And basically what I want to do is just have these two, which hopefully will detect, not timeout, and just be able to read it. There we go. Perfect. So here's what we're getting. Like I said, so for this image, our output is V, which is just the heart. See, the cool thing is you can tell how this thing is working because the heart is obviously very contrasted from the background. And because it has that V shape, it is just assuming that that's a V. But since we have a normal font here, it's able to easily pick that up. Good morning to all my friends. So that's working absolutely perfectly. And then if you look up here, it's doing pretty good, but it's messing up just a little bit. So it says at ood morn. So it's missing the I and the G a little bit, but that's also not too bad. So this already is acting decent enough, you know. If you had a regular image, it would pull it out. Problem is what happens when we want to start doing more. I'm going to do this, move these files back in. And I know I just said that, but I'm going to see if this is the image causing all the errors and if we can get it. Yeah, so exactly. This is the image that is not wanting to work. So from what I'm getting, what Pietsch is trying to do is it's trying to get these characters, but it thinks that something is a non-UTF-8 character, so it's trying to encode something in Unicode. And Unicode and Python do not match just natively. You have to import libraries and stuff, so I'm trying out some different methods to try and fix this problem. Alright, so I'm going to try and debug this again. Step into it. Alright, so it actually does save an image in my temp folder, and if we were to go to that, hopefully I can just do %temp. You can actually see that it is saving these files here. And apparently these are it too. So the problem, I think, is that it's writing it out. I have no control over this. All I want to do is for it to load the image in, but it's writing out to a temp file, and then that writing is messing up because it is a Unicode thing. Something's messing up. Fortunately, I don't really see anything that gives me info as to what is going on, which is not helping. So for the meantime, there's other things that I want to do. I'm just going to put this in try block and then catch the IO error. How do I catch? What? Catch error Python. Apparently I don't know. Oh, it's just error. Try accept. That's what it is. IO error. Print problem with file IO. So that way I'll just know, but we can keep on looping through. Just make sure that this works. So boom. It says fail to create a temporary file, and we can keep on moving on with the program. So I'm going to move all these images back in. Again, just leaving out these Python files. And we are back in business. So let's just run through this. I'm going to keep this in. And I actually want to see if we're able to print the result in here. And if we can do that. Alright. So now we can go back in and get all the input from all the images, regardless of what's happening, which is good. That helps us out. So the output of GM2 apparently again has output problems. So I want to put this inside the try block for ones that work. Alright, so T2 works, which is great. So we at least have a basis to go off of. So that's working. We know that T1 is also sort of working. I mean, it's not getting it exactly, but we have a decent logic going on here. And quote 1 also is returning things. So it's saying only it misses the eye, but changed my life. And it thinks that, like, right here is actually a single dash, which is interesting. So unfortunately, we're not getting everything that would be nice to get by the next time that I come back with this series. I will figure out what's going on with this and explain a little bit about it, but I don't want to spend too much time working on this error. Basically, what I want to look into is getting some of these other files working. So, for example, getting this picture and the other ones that are actually working, printing out the right sort of things. And as a side effect of that, if we're able to increase our quality and increase the prediction of what words are actually in the image, then we can possibly remove some of the weird characters that we're getting in the other images that are causing the errors. So one thing I think that might be useful is to start actually printing out what we're getting as the image to string. So I'm going to research that. So with PyTesseract, you can actually pass in a config string, and I saw this earlier when I actually set this up. So you can have like a char whitelist. So basically, if say like there's only numbers in here, right? So there's no O's, there's only zeros, for example. Which will be helpful for us because if we're trying to find good, can say, well, hey, there's only going to be chars from A to Z. You know, that's all we want. That's all we care about. So that can get rid of that at that we were seeing. Let's go keep on reading about this. So I think we might want to try this option, which is sparse text, find as much text as possible in no particular order. So that way we can get as much as possible. So let's try that. So we have to pass in PSM10, I believe. Yes. I'll say config equals PSM10. I'm not sure what this OEM3 does. And I'm not sure what this OEM3 does, but I'm just going to sort of cheat. Copy this all into here. So let's just try that. And so that actually ended up with us not getting anything. Interesting. Alright, so PSM10 is not working out. Oh, I passed in the wrong one. That would be why it's only finding one character. So, okay, so passing in PSM11, it's going to try and find as much text as possible. So with the second image, which is very low quality anyways, can't really find much. It ended up actually finding text within this. That's interesting. So this one actually ended up doing fairly well. I didn't include any punctuation on my thing, so I'm going to add a comma and a period and rerun this. So that does look pretty good. No one can do it for me. It's missing the space here, and it's messing up her name a little bit, but that's pretty good. We still get a pretty decent amount out of this. And the cool thing is now that with, what is this image 2.1? This, which originally was having at, is now just those. And this is getting everything exactly right. Alright, so there's this one website that auto-generates images, and it's pretty hilarious, if I must say. Sometimes they can be edgy. It's just really funny. So I'm going to use these to test this out. So, you know, some pretty good things. But I'm going to copy those into the directory, run it, and then probably call it a day when it comes to this project. Alright, we're going to try and run this on all the other images. So now if text gets detected, then it's going to print it out. So if we go to this 8069. Alright, so it gets sort of close. Again, not a totally normal font. I was actually researching. I think you can install fonts on your computer that you can allow Tesseract to recognize. So if you were doing this, you know, say your Facebook, right, and you want to add this feature in, you're going to install basically all the fonts possible, so that way it'll detect this more. So with this, it determines an angle bracket. So again, if I went back in and added the char whitelist back in and reran this, I'm very curious to see if it would keep that up or if it would just wipe it off, if it would say it's a C. So it sort of freaks out here. Oh my god. Okay, anyways, I was trying to find an appropriate picture of this, but this this one ends up being not too bad. You know, I don't have an apostrophe here, so it doesn't really know what to do, but because I have that as not on the whitelist. But besides this, it gets every letter besides messing up the D, which it doesn't know about the dash. So if I added that to the whitelist, alright, so I was getting errors if I swapped out the dash. Okay, so anyways, not exactly the most ideal results right now. But that is what we were getting preliminarily. So we're going to have to mess with the config a little bit, and look at some more ways to increase the accuracy of our results. Obviously, too, this is not a trained model or anything. It's just a library that uses letter recognition, so it's not really that smart. So there's definitely lots of room for improvement, and we will get into that next time. But thank you for watching and sticking through to the bitter end. I shall see you next time.